I was able to make an extra $2,000 in sales this week because I was able to learn this one secret principle on how to handle a certain objection. And that's why I'm able to buy this guru lightsaber lamp, and you're still poor, living in your mom's basement under a shady fluorescent light. Okay, so today I'm going to walk you through the exact process on how I was able to actually convert that call into a sale because I learned this one secret closing principle that I'm going to share with you in this video. So let's switch to the Mauer board and let's get this thing going. So there's 5 objections that you need to know, okay? There's only 5. There's no more than 5. If you think there's more than 5, you're lying. And I'm going to share with you those with you right now so that you can look at what your prospect's saying and you can figure out which objection they're actually telling you and how you can actually overcome it, okay? Now, before I draw out these 5, okay, there is one thing that you have to understand, right? And these principles that I'm showing you right now, by the way, I can't draw a star apparently, but these principles are not something that I invented on my own, and I learned these from someone named Bill Walsh. So if you want to hear it straight from the source after this video, you can go watch him, okay? But you need, before you actually handle any objections, you need to figure out the star, right? You need to figure out it's called their North Star. You need to figure out what they actually want, okay? And you need to make sure that not only do you know what they want and they understand what they want, but they also believe that, right, maybe this is this person right here and there's like a fire here. They believe that you are able to like have a hose and then you can like, let's get this blue, right? You're able to put out this fire, right? If they believe that your hose is dry and there's no water in your hose, then they are not going to trust you and they're not going to give you money to give you a hose that does not work, right? Because they can't achieve this North Star if this fire is in the way, right? This is a blue fire. They can't get to here if this fire is in the way. And if they don't believe that you can actually spray out this hose, they're not going to give you money for that, right? But if they believe that this is the hose and that you have, and they believe that it can actually put out this fire, then they are going to pay you the money, right? However, they might have some objections just because of a few logistical or fearful reasons. And I'm going to kind of go over these things right now. Okay, so there's 5 things, right? Now, number 1 is think about it, right? You probably heard a bit about it. Think about it. You've probably heard this a million times, okay? Number 2 is partner, right? Maybe they have a partner that they need to talk to. Partner, okay? And then number 3 is money, okay? Pretty simple. And then we have and I'll show you why I'm drawing it like these later. Number 4, we have fear. And number 5, we have logistics. Okay, you will never have an objection that does not fit into one of these 5 different categories. Okay, if you do, I'll pay you $1 million. Right? So let's go over these 2. Right now, if you know anything about sales, you know that both of these 2 is bullshit, okay? And if you end the call and you got one of these objections and that's the reason why you ended the call, you just lost all your money because that's complete bullshit, okay? If they have not paid you the stripe and they say they need to think about it, but they're going to pay you, they're not going to pay you, okay? If they say they're going to give you the money, but they need to talk to their wife or their husband or their dog that they're in love with, then they're not going to give you the money, okay? So you need to understand these 2 things, right? If you can't overcome these 2 things, if you can't figure out the actual reason why they're lying to you, then you're not going to be able to close the sale, okay? So the only reasons as to why someone is not going to buy, right, is really because they're fearful or there's logistics issues, right? Now, this is obviously assuming that they believe that your product is good already. If they believe that your product is shit, if they believe that the hose that you're going to use to spray out the fire is not going to actually put out the fire, then that's a completely different problem, right? But when we're at the point where they actually believe that we can help them get to where they want to be, these are the only 5 things that can happen. These 2 are bullshit, and this one splits into 2 different things, right? So money, right? We need to understand this first, and I'm going to go over how to actually overcome this and how to overcome this later, right? But you want to figure out if they say it's money, right? If they say it's a money issue, then you need to figure out if it's the fear of spending the money or if there's a logistical concern where they actually don't have the money to give you, okay? So there might be a logistical concern where your product is shit, but that's kind of a completely different issue that you didn't kind of explain to them before, right? And that's something that you need to fix, not in this video, right? I'm going to explain that in a different video. But basically, you have these different branches. If they believe that you can help them get to where they want to go, there is only 2 possibilities, right? It's going to come down to money, but do they have the money? Or if they don't have the money, then it's a logistical concern, right? They don't have the money to pay you right now. in that case, you can just take a down payment, and I'll show you how to figure this shit out, right? But 99.999% of the time, unless you're charging like a 10K up front, then it's probably just going to be fear, right? And they're just scared to spend that money, even though they believe you, even though they think they can help, you can help them. They're just scared because it is a lot of money, right? And like if you're saying to someone that you can make them 20K per month, and you're charging like 4K per month, like you're still charging a lot of money, and maybe they think you can get there, but they're just scared to take that step because they're still committing $4,000 a month, and for like a majority of like people in the U.S., that's like more than half their income, which is a bit sad, but that's like the complete truth, right? So you have to figure out like which one is like, do they physically not have the money to do it, or are they just scared to commit? Because these are two different angles that you have to approach the situation at. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to break these down to actually figure out what the problem actually is, right? So let's start from the top, right? Let's say they give you bullshit, okay? So let's say they need to think about it. Let's say they need to talk to a partner, right? So the first thing you want to do is you want to confirm that they believe that your hose works. They believe that your hose can put out the fire, right? So they say you need to think about it. It's like, okay, perfect. I completely respect that. Just so I kind of have an understanding, I guess. Do you believe that this can get you to where you want to go? Right? So if they are resoundingly positive with that, right? They say yes. Then you ask, okay, what in particular, like what specific aspect of what I went over do you believe will help you get to XYZ result, right? Whether that's 10K per month, whether that's 100K per month, whether that's doubling the business, whether that's being able to go buy a Ferrari and then like go scam kids in Dubai or something. I don't know, right? Whatever their dream outcome is, that's what you need to reiterate every single time. And it's going to be different for each individual prospect, okay? You have to get that out of them in the very beginning of the sales call. Maybe not the very beginning, but you need to get them before the objection handling phase, or else you have zero leverage when it comes to actually explaining these concepts, okay? So you want to confirm, right? You want to reiterate the fact that they believe that you can get them where they want to be, right? If they say, well, yeah, I think so, right? Or if they're like, yeah, I think so. Or if they're not like 100% sure, if they're not like, yeah, I think this definitely can get me to 10K per month, I think it definitely can, right? If they're not like resoundingly yes, if you think that there's maybe even like the tiniest bit of hesitation in their voice, then you go down with a negative response, okay? And what you would say in that instance is like, okay, that I respect that. Do you feel like there's any part of what I went through with you today that wouldn't help you get to 10K per month, right? So now you're being extremely specific and you're being concerning as to something that you might have gone over before that maybe kind of triggers something that they might feel that would not help them, right? Maybe they think that there's some part of your process that is not going to be beneficial for them, and then you can then use that to kind of clarify whether like how this thing actually can help them, right? So for example, right? So if you're selling like a do-it-yourself program, and and you were like, is there any part that you feel like wouldn't help you get towards your goal? And then they're like, well, yeah, I just don't like I guess I just don't like the fact that I kind of have to do everything myself. And I'm like, and then you have to say something like, okay, well, yeah, I mean that completely makes sense. So I guess your main concern is, I guess, not having that support right with you, and then maybe they'll be like, yeah, I guess it's kind of, I feel like I would just be kind of on my own, and then you can say, oh, well, sorry, I didn't even mention that. That's completely my fault. So we would actually be there with you every step of the process. You actually have access to my calendar. We can book a time anytime you're available. We have these like these resources that you can go through that guide you step by step every part of it along the way. And we also have these like 3 coaching calls a week or whatever you have, I don't know, that we can go over your exact process. And the best part of it is that you are actually the one building your business, right? So we're not giving you these like magical things that are kind of like evergreen to everyone, and doing it for you, but you are actually able to control that aspect of your business. I mean, that's what you want, right? I don't want to put any words in your mouth, but that is something that could be beneficial, correct? Or you should say, like, would that be something that would be, I guess, helpful for your business? And then they'll answer, oh, okay, I didn't know you had these meetings or whatever, right? Maybe you didn't say it before. So then it kind of overcomes their problem. Now you actually figured out what their problem was. It was not this bullshit, right? It was actually that they didn't understand the program. It's like, okay, now, do you feel like this can help you get to 10K per month? They're like, yeah, okay. that's how you do it, right? You have to kind of go in there and be like, reconfirm that they really, 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 really like your product. Okay, let's say they do like your product. Let's say they have a resounding yes, right? They're like, yeah, I really do think so. I just need to like go over with my wife, right? And it's like completely fair, completely understand that. So I guess for me, right, I know this is a big commitment, right? Like XYZ dollars isn't something that's that anyone can afford. I mean, is this maybe like a monetary concern, just because I know it is a big commitment for you, and they'll probably open up, right? So what you want to try and do is you want to handle the objection, right? Because you can't handle an objection that's fake, right? So they'll tell you they want to speak with their wife, but that's bullshit, okay? Because they can make their choices without their wife, okay? They can tell you that they need to speak with their wife all day long, but you're never going to overcome this objection, because this objection does not exist. This is a fake objection, right? They're just throwing this to get off the sales calls because they don't like the pressure, right? This is bullshit. You need to be able to get past this, and you can't get past it by overcoming the objection that doesn't exist. So what you have to do is get them to admit to a real objection, and that's what you want to do here, right? So if they say I need to think about it, if they say I need to talk to a partner, it's like you want them to say it's because of money, okay? And this is what I do, right? So you get them kind of on board with the fact that it is a large investment, and it is a bit potentially difficult to be able to do that, right? And that's what you kind of need to do. It's like, do you feel like this could be like a money thing? And I'm not trying to say anything, but I mean, I guess just because of the fact that it is a large investment, and I know you would want to, I guess, to probably speak with someone before you kind of commit to something like this, and then you get a yes out of them, right? It's like, yeah, it is a money thing, right? It is a large investment, and I just do need to take that time to, I guess, think about it, right? It's like, yeah, completely respect that, man. So I guess just so I have an understanding, just so I feel like I can help a little bit more. Is it a bit of is it the fact that maybe you don't have the full investment here today, or is it just like I know it's a lot of money to be able to invest right now, and they'll tell you like, well, no, I have the money, but it is just a large investment, and now it's fear, right? Because that's the only thing that it can be, right? Or if they say it's like, yeah, I mean, I need to figure out how I'm going to get the funds for this. Now it's a logistics problem where they don't actually have the money. So maybe you're charging $4K per month. It's like, okay, well, I understand. Now, look, I wouldn't want your financial situation to be kind of the breaking point, and I wouldn't want that to stand in the way of you actually getting what you want. So John, I know you like the product, and I know you feel like it can help you get to 10K per month. And just in light of that, I know we have our guarantee and everything, and I know it is just a matter of, I guess, maybe you don't have the full investment here today. Would it be appropriate if I mean, would it help you if we could lower this to $2,000 for now, and then the next $2,000 you would only pay us once we actually get you the clients and get you the funds to be able to do that? Because I mean, we are like, my goal, like, aside, like, this, we can put the business aside, like, I want to be able to help you in whatever way possible, and if we can come to kind of an agreement like that, would that help you, right? And a lot of times, like, if this is actually the objection where they don't have the money and this kind of solves that problem, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, right? And then you can just do it like that, or you can do like some kind of a down payment if you're charging like a pay in full program. That's when you can kind of go down the road of like, oh, okay, we'll just do a down payment, right? Easy enough. Now, 99% of the time, it's not going to be this. It's going to be this, okay? Most of the time, people are just scared because they don't, they're scared of investing in their business, right? Now, this is true for 99% of the people that are watching this video, right? Now, if you're working with like enterprise businesses, obviously, it's probably not going to be this one, right? But for most of you who are probably working with people making anywhere from like 5 to like 30, 40K per month, you're going to be dealing with not like super smart business people, and you're just going to be dealing with fear, right? So how do we overcome fear? Well, we can break fear down even more, right? So this is all stuff I learned from Bill Walsh as well. He's a very smart guy, and he knows how to handle objections really well. And I kind of picked up on this pretty decently, I think. But there's fear of me, Okay? Fear of you, fear of past, and then fear of future. I'll pretend that's a you, okay? Fear of me, fear of you, fear of past, fear of future. So there's 4 different things, right? So they're either they either don't trust you, right? They believe in the product, but they don't believe in you. Okay? So they think probably like you're some just like scammer on the internet or something, right? They really like the system. They think it sounds good on paper, but they just don't think that you have the goods, right? Um, or it's a fear of you, or it's a fear of the prospect, and they don't believe in their self. Maybe they've invested themselves in the past, and it didn't necessarily work because they weren't able to put in the work. They didn't have some kind of an accountability thing, or they just didn't. They just didn't feel like maybe they have like imposter syndrome or something, and that it depends on the niche that you're in. That may or may not be more prevalent, right? And then there's a fear of the past where maybe they invested in a course before, maybe they got scammed by some random SMMA kid who is calling them, guaranteeing them 800 billion appointments in 3.5 seconds, and then they got scammed, and now they think Facebook ads suck, and now they are scared of the past, right? Because they got scammed before, and maybe they're just fear of the future. Right, so then maybe it's just a combination of these, where it's like they don't feel like it's going to pan out for them, for whatever kind of reason that they have in their head, right? So there there are different ways that we can overcome each of these. For example, if it's fear of me, right? So if it's a fear of yourself, like if it's fear of you, it's probably coming down to the fact that you have no backing behind your name and you have no testimonials. Now, there are ways to overcome this. I would recommend that you probably just like charge a commission or something until you actually get testimonials, because that is going to be very, 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 very important when you're trying to close sales. Okay, so that is the number one thing that you need to do before you actually try and solve this problem. Now, if you have that and you still get this objection, this is how you do it. Okay, so you have to make their decision today based on the decision that they made yesterday. So you have to tell them, right? Hey, look, I completely understand. Hey, do you feel like I've been honest with you today? Right, and they'll say yes. They'll probably just lie and say yes, right? It's like, okay, well, I mean, you're a smart business owner, right? And I know you just don't hop on calls with everyone. And I think that you probably had some kind of belief in what we do as a company, seeing our case studies. You saw our video sale. You saw our video kind of explaining our product in that booking phase, right? Maybe you have a video on your calendar or something, or you showed them a video sales letter, or maybe they cold called someone and then they got an email with a video, right? You kind of give them some information. Like you wouldn't have jumped on this call, like you're not someone who wastes their time, right? And they'll be like, yes, I don't waste my time, right? If they're not going to admit to wasting your time, and now they're going to have to basically answer your questions with kind of that in the fact in mind that they already said that they didn't waste their time. They only book with someone that they actually kind of trust, right? So now that you have that leverage, so it's like, so I know that this is a difficult decision, right? And I understand that you don't get on these calls with random people that you don't believe that can help, right? So look, I mean, just between the two of us, like, I know that I can help you, right? And I know that this is going to change your life. And you just need to have so much conviction in this statement, right? And it's like, I know this is a difficult process, but John, can we take this step together, right? I know it's difficult, and I know that it's a big decision, but I also know that you've seen what we do, and we've seen how this can transform your life, just like we helped ABC person and XYZ person and your mom get to 10K per month, right? So you tell them these stories that like kind of back up the fact that you are someone who's a reasonable person, and that the fact that they already committed to spending time with you, and they already said that they don't waste their time with people that they don't trust, right? So now they have to make actions in accordance with what they said in the past, and that's just like a psychological heuristic, right? So that's basically how you overcome that. If you don't have testimonials, I would highly recommend charging absolutely nothing, and then or like commission or something, and then just get people to give you testimonials, because that is the easiest way to build trust if you don't have it. Okay, so this fear of me. Fear of me. Now there's the fear of you. Okay? So, this is where they're scared of their self, right? And the way I do this is very simple. I'm not going to go like too in depth into this because I just use a very simple example. You can kind of emulate this as you will, right? So you ask the person, right? And now this obviously depends on the person, but you ask them they have probably something going for them. Maybe they have like a partner. Maybe they have a wife, right? Especially if they gave you the partner objection. Now you can leverage this because you know that they have one, right? So you say, hey, you mentioned to me you have a wife, right? And they're like, yeah. And then it's like, okay, well, I mean, sorry, it's a weird question. I guess I'm sure she's not the first person you kissed, right? And he's like, no. And then you're like, okay, well, you've been heartbroken in the past, I'm sure, correct? And they'll be like, yeah. It's like, okay, well, and I understand that you've made a decision in the past and it didn't pan out, right? And you use this for past as well, right? You made a decision in the past and it didn't pan out, and you feel like you might have failed. But John, what would happen? I guess what would your current situation be like if you didn't, I guess, kind of look at the future and look what you could do? I guess where would you be right now if you weren't able to kind of pick yourself up from that past failure, that past heartbreak? And they'll be like, "Well, I wouldn't have my wife," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I mean." And you love your wife, right? And it's like, yeah. It's like, okay, well, I mean, I'm just worried that if we don't, I guess, take action, even though I know you're scared, right? Even though I know some things have happened in your past that kind of have stopped you from succeeding, right? If we don't kind of pick ourselves up from that past failure, it's like just like you wouldn't have been able to meet your wife today. It's like I'm not sure if you'd be able to hit this goal that you said you wanted, and you just tell them their goal, right? And they're like, and it's like, I know this is a difficult decision, right? And I know this is scary. I know it's a lot of money. But John, I can tell you with the utmost conviction that this is going to change your life. Okay? And I know from the bottom of my heart that taking this step is going to get you to where you want to be. And this is why we have a guarantee in place. This is why we've been able to do this for thousands of other clients. So, John, can you trust me today? And can we walk through this together? And then a lot of the time from that, they'll just say yes. Okay? Hopefully, you're finding this valuable, by the way, because it fucking made me some money. So hopefully it does the same for you, right? Now, fear of the future. This one is kind of just a combination of them. And this one is probably, to be honest, the one that I'm the shittiest at. So it kind of depends on the situation, right? You kind of have to pick up on some things that they've already mentioned based on like whether it's this, whether it's this, whether it's this. And generally, when they're scared of the future, it will likely be due to something from the past, right? So people don't necessarily like people are scared of things because they have been screwed over by them in the past, right? Like maybe you're scared of riding a bike, and the reason for that is because you've probably like rode a bike before and then like messed up. Maybe it's the fear that you haven't taken the action before, and in that case, you have to tell them like, look, I know that you've never invested in yourself, but John, do you believe that you are worth investing in yourself? And then they'll be like, yeah. It's like, okay, and do you believe that? I mean, do you believe that you can get to where you want to go if you don't take that first step? If you don't take action? And they'll be like, probably not. It's like, okay, well, it's like, John, I mean, okay, I know that it's a difficult decision, and I know that you want to get there, but I can't help you if you aren't able to take that leap, right? You would never be walking if you never took that first step. You'd never be married if you never asked out your wife. You'd never have accomplished anything in your life if you weren't able to take that initial risk, right? And I want to make this as easy as possible for you, and that's why we have our guarantee in place, right? That's why we have our client testimonials, and that's why we have all these things in place, so we can make it as easy as possible for you to take that first step. But I mean, it has to come from you, right? And there's no pressure on you, right? Like you don't have to do this. It is completely your choice. But I'm worried that if it doesn't happen now, and if you don't overcome this, I guess, feeling of fear that you were telling me about, do you feel like you're able to get to where you want to go if you don't do these things? Like if you don't take that action, then like probably not. And then you kind of go into that same conviction statement that I kind of reiterated on before in these past four statements. So I hope that was useful. that basically covers everything that I use for objection handling, and it works really freaking well. Hopefully it was useful for you. Okay. If you want to join my free Facebook group, I do coaching on there every single week on Saturdays at 11 o'clock Eastern time. If you want to join that, second link in description is my Facebook profile. You can just click on that, message me group in all caps, and I will send you that video, and then we can talk there. Other than that, hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if this is useful, and then YouTube can recommend you for more videos to help you scale your business. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one.